What's good, everyone? Welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. Today we are taking a different approach with this specific Call of Duty video. We are going to be ranking all of the Call of Duty games in the last 15 years. Before we get into the video, drop your top 5 favorite Call of Duties in the comments. Subscribe if you're new. I upload videos every Tuesday and Friday, so subscribe for more Call of Duty content and overall gaming content. And if you're returning, welcome back, and like the video on your way in. Let's jump right into it. So at number 15, you can probably guess we have Call of Duty Vanguard. Some fun facts about this game: bugs, glitches across Vanguard's entire lifespan has taken far too long to be remedied and seriously impacted most players' experience. Rank play did not drop until February of 2022, and new additions like post-match voting screens did nothing but unnecessarily slow down the game. And in my personal opinion, this was just an overall bad game. The only thing I really enjoyed about this game was watching the Call of Duty League. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's move on. I'm getting disgusted talking about this game. And at number 14, we have Call of Duty World War II. Launching November 3rd, 2017, this was a pretty flawed return to Call of Duty's boots on the ground's origins, in my personal opinion. After the jetpack era, Call of Duty's return to World War II is a surprisingly fast-paced take on the classic setting. It provides a good campaign, a great new story mode and multiplayer, among other good changes, and a creepier, dense version of Nazi zombies. I remember before this game launched, I was pretty excited, but when the game went live, it seemed to feel like there were a lot of voids that needed to be filled. Assuming it was going to feel similar to Call of Duty World at War, which launched in 2008, it almost felt like a boots on the ground version of Advanced Warfare. I can't entirely figure out where developers went wrong with this game. Similar to Vanguard, I did not put many hours into this game at all. I'm pretty sure I ended up selling this game in February or March of 2018. And now that I've said that, you can probably guess I wasn't a big fan of that game either. And at number 13, we have Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Released in 2016, the game was perhaps the most futuristic one at the time, and probably still the most futuristic one to this date. During the single-player campaign, the battle was no longer set on Earth. Instead, it was an outer space setting. This change of pace was great to see. The overall execution was interesting enough to keep players playing the story mode until its completion. Looking over the multiplayer aspect of the game, it was one of the Call of Duty games that had a lot of fans complaining about the excessive movement during matches. With an emphasis on jetpacks and quick movements, it's hard to say Infinite Warfare was one of the better Call of Duty games. This game seemed to be pretty short-lived as well. Didn't find it quite as fun and didn't really have a sense of urgency to play this game after about a month or so. So one thing I would say positive about this game is that it was really aesthetically pleasing. So at number 12, we have Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. So I was initially pretty excited about the launch of this game, and I also had a lot of fun with this game for a short period of time though. One thing that really turned me off about this game was it seemed to be the first pay-to-win Call of Duty, with the addition of weapon variants that almost seemed to break the game. Following up on Ghost, this was the first jetpack game of the series in Advanced Warfare. The game introduced brand new movement mechanics with exosuits. We were able to dash and juke mid-air, which was a nice sight to see for the series. The story mode of the game was also an improvement on Ghost story mode. Many fans were skeptical of the game going into it as the first Sledgehammer game, and the fact that there was going to be new advanced movement, it made a whole lot of sense as to why some consumers may have had qualms with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, I know it seems like I am completely against the jetpack era of Call of Duty at this point, but I promise that is not the case. Just stick around a bit longer and you may be surprised. Advanced Warfare was the first game in the series to really break traditional Call of Duty origins, and the execution at the time was decent. However, I will say it is hard to rank this specific Call of Duty higher on the list. And at number 11, we have Call of Duty Ghosts, released November 5th, 2013. This was the COD's first entry on the next generation consoles at the time, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, both of which just released the same holiday season. Some of the strongest part of Ghost's campaign is perhaps the bond with you and your dog Riley. Throughout the story mode, which is set in a fictional world where North and South America are at war, you really get a sense of how distraught and lonely the world is now. The game does a decent job at making you engaged in the story mode, but it ultimately slips up compared to other Call of Duty games. The multiplayer of Ghost is one of the most debatable ones as well. players are torn on whether or not they actually enjoyed it. This was the last boots on the ground Call of Duty we had for some time, and most would say this game was mostly a fun search and destroy game, but nothing more. This is when I noticed the map design problem with developers making maps that only seem to be playable in search and destroy. And at number 10, this is most likely an unpopular opinion of mine. I was not a huge fan of Modern Warfare 3. Needless to say, because it's relatively low on the list. This game was the final conclusion to the Modern Warfare saga, I guess, until things picked back up in 2019. The story mode is intriguing throughout the game as we finally tie up some loose ends from Modern Warfare 2. Finally coming to a resolution with certain characters was nice to see, and if we are talking about just story modes, this game wouldn't rank as low compared to others. Moving over to the online aspect of the game, Modern Warfare 3 didn't do anything exponential to further elevate the Call of Duty series. The only notable thing was that they changed kill streaks to point streaks. Depending on who you ask, this was either a good decision or a terrible one. Okay, and at number 9, we have Modern Warfare 2 2022. Obviously, this game is currently live and is still very early in the game's life, so I find it pretty hard to place this game because of its youth. I am really enjoying the hell out of this game, but a lot of things in this game are a bit ludicrous. So this is a soft reboot of the original story, which has been enhanced for modern storytelling. It follows a similar storyline with many connections and links to the previous trilogy. The story of the original saga concluded with the release of Modern Warfare 3 in 2011. One thing I would say about this game so far is it is not the worst. It is absolutely not the worst, but it is absolutely not the best either. So I think this is a good spot for it at this point in time. If I was to make this list a year later, assuming developers take care of everything that the community would like for them to take care of, maybe it will move up 3 or 4 on the list. And at number 8, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. I call this the COVID COD. I put in a lot of hours on this game with the game because obviously the world was shut down for about a year. Contrary to popular belief, Modern Warfare was relatively good. With this being one of the newest Call of Duty games, it is by far a top tier game as far as graphics and overall sound design. As far as actual gameplay, I think that may be a different story. We had some additions such as 2v2 gunfight and massive ground war matches. However, players' biggest beef with the multiplayer had to been the maps. The maps that were released at launch were nothing compared to the previous Call of Duty games and were pretty disappointing for fans. I have said this probably 100 times on my channel now. This game seemed to be only playable in Search and Destroy as well. So now at this point in the list, things are starting to get a little bit tough. So at number 7, I have 2 games. We're going to start off with Black Ops Cold War. Cold War is a mixed bag when talking to players. On one side, you have the critics who note the lack of maps within the game is perhaps the biggest downfall of Cold War. With that being said, Cold War maps seem to be a lot more playable in respawn game modes such as Crossroads Strike and Checkmate. Treyarch is typically known for releasing some of the best multiplayer maps within the series, such as Raid and Standoff for Black Ops 2, so it was a shame to see some of the maps in Cold War fall flat in this regard, such as Satellite and Miami. However, the gunplay within Black Ops Cold War is one that can't be ignored, and the weapons we were able to use offer some feedback in recent memory. So the game I decided to pair up with Black Ops Cold War is Black Ops 4. This was another Treyarch developed game that was released in 2018. It was released worldwide for PlayStation 4, Windows, and Xbox. I do think Black Ops 4 was kind of underappreciated for the most part. That being said, this was the first time Call of Duty took the Battle Royale route with Blackout. This game was overall nice and vibrant, and the movement mechanics were almost exactly what the community wanted. And at number 6, we have Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I do believe this is where it all began for the franchise. I am not saying this is the first Call of Duty game. I am very well aware that there were a few more Call of Duty games before this one, but this is where the wow factor came from, and the name Call of Duty really became a pretty big deal in gaming. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is one of the most beloved games in the series. It was by far the best game in the series at the time. It was the first time they strayed away from the World War II theme and introduced some modern concepts into the game. This is also where we meet some of the franchise's most loved characters, including Captain Price, who is still seen in Call of Duty games today and is a centerpiece of the series. The game's multiplayer also reinvented the series with maps such as Crash and Shipment, being some of the most iconic maps in the history of online gaming. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is truly one of the best Call of Duty and first-person shooter games ever created. Now let's get into the top 5, and at number 5 we have Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Call of Duty was undergoing some major changes with the introduction of jetpacks, and I remember being in school and my peers were feeling really uneasy about the direction Call of Duty was going at the time. I remember saying that I respect the attempt to make the shift, although this was the only game I really enjoyed in the jetpack era. It was a game that really made me appreciate traditional boots on the ground Call of Duties a bit more. Treyarch's Black Ops series was once again continuing the story right where it left off, a high-tech battle, but now they introduced new characters and outfits called Specialists. This was the first time in the series where players in multiplayer matches could gain access to weapons such as the Tempest or Grapple Gun or Gravity Spikes. It was a fun concept that Treyarch ultimately improved upon in this game. I think this game was my personal Call of Duty peak skill-wise. This was the first game I played competitively, such as game battles and UMGs, and the arena rank play system was also something I really enjoyed in this game. And at number 4, this is probably another major unpopular opinion of mine, but listen up, I'm able to explain myself. We have Call of Duty World at War. So this was actually the first Call of Duty I've ever played. I think I have a bit of an emotional connection with this game, despite how buggy and glitchy the game was. This was my honeymoon Call of Duty, so obviously it will probably make sense that I have this game pretty high on the list. Treyarch's second go at the series is widely considered one of the best World War II story modes of the series, straying from the traditional model, which follows the Americans throughout the European theater. The series experimented and let us dive into the bloody Pacific War along with the Russian storyline. Each soldier we got to follow throughout the story had their highlights. Captivating fans such as the graphics and the level of gore in the game was one of a kind. The game was considered one of the darker Call of Duty games, as Treyarch's storytelling and graphical design were one of a kind for the series. World at War was also the introduction of Nazi zombies. The 4-player multiplayer game mode was an instant success. It was perhaps one of the best modes ever introduced into Call of Duty. We still see people play old Call of Duty games just for the zombies game mode. That being said, I've always found games that are a little bit more dark and grim, a little more intriguing than vibrant colors to a certain degree. Obviously, games like Black Ops 3 and Modern Warfare 2 2009 had really bright and vibrant colors and everything looked beautiful. But the duller a war game looks, the more it adds to the war ambience in my personal opinion. If you played Call of Duty World at War, let me know how you feel about it down in the comment section. Once again, I know that was probably an unpopular opinion of mine. Let's talk about it. And at number 3, we have Modern Warfare 2 2009. The sequel to Modern Warfare essentially took everything that the game was exponential at and somehow made it better in every way. Taking a look at the single player, Modern Warfare 2 had multiple story settings throughout the fictional world, and some of the missions were some of the most memorable in the series. We picked up right where we left off in the first game, and through some jaw-dropping twists and turns, we're left wondering what's next for the series at the end. Modern Warfare 2 also featured other notable characters that would be some of the most loved in the series. Ghost and Soap. We felt connected to them and Captain Price. Moving to the online portion of the game, Modern Warfare 2 featured improved maps from the first game along with an overall solid gameplay feel. The revised weapons and perks also felt great. Some weapons were much stronger than others, and it was never boring to play Modern Warfare 2. It's hard to come by a series that's so universally loved, and the Modern Warfare series is certainly one of them. If you played Modern Warfare 2 2009, let me know what you think about this game. This was an absolute W of a Call of Duty. Not even just saying that because of nostalgia. This was just an overall great game. Let's talk about it in the comment section. And at number 2, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 1. This game seemed to have the perfect arcade versus realism balance that we have not seen in Call of Duty in a very long time. The one thing I have contention with in this game was some of the camos. For the most part, most of them looked really good, but others seemed to look like third graders colored on them with crayons. With that being said, this is the first game that introduced gold guns. If anyone remembers the gold gun glitch when this game dropped, drop a fire emoji down in the comments. From the multiplayer and campaign, all the way over to the zombies, Black Ops 1 was just a phenomenal game. Drop your thoughts about Black Ops 1 down below. And at number 1, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 2. This was an absolute banger of a game. Treyarch released this game in the year 2012. I literally do not think I can say anything bad about this game. The gameplay in this game was literally and figuratively like no other. This game, as well as Black Ops 1 for multiplayer over the zombies and the campaign, was just an overall W. I think this may be the last good COD title we have seen. Everything we have seen after this title has either been just decent or, in all honesty, just bad. I am also convinced this is probably one of the last Call of Duty games that had very small skill-based matchmaking, if any at all. The game itself is considered by many pros to be the best ever, from maps to balance to unique features and everything in between. Black Ops 2 is thought of as the best Call of Duty has ever been. This game was literally just unmatched. If you played Call of Duty Black Ops 2, let me know what you think about it down in the comment section. And just so everyone knows, these are my personal opinions, and that's where I would like to talk to you guys in the comment section. If you disagree, let's just be respectful to each other. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up there. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around. If you dug the video, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I upload videos every Tuesday and Friday, so subscribe for more Call of Duty content and overall gaming content. All y'all take care. I hope you enjoyed the video once again, and I'm out.